now we're into gaming and tech, and boy do we have a bit to talk about here because Mortal Kombat is just going nuts. We also have Red Dead Redemption to really get into, and then Killer Instinct dropped some really awesome news very recently as well. So we're going to get to that and a couple other things. So welcome, nerds, to the gaming and tech news for the week. This is a clip that has been taken out of the main show, The Week in Nerddom, which goes up on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. In gaming and tech, we like to talk about, well, you know, gaming and tech, trailers, announcements for new tech and games and consoles and everything in between that is gaming and or tech related. So this week in gaming and tech, all of this stuff happened. Jumping right into follow-ups and corrections, we're gonna just come out the gate swinging with Mortal Kombat. Technically, these are all trailers, but we're gonna talk about this a little bit more than we do in the trailer section. So we got the Banished trailer most recently. Right before that was the Keepers of Time trailer, and then the Combat Pack reveal and the Umgadi on the same day. Umgadi came out first, and then Combat Pack was like 3 hours later or something like that. All of this happened, save for the Banished trailer. The other three trailers happened while I had no internet connection, so I knew they were going to be happening. I didn't know specifically what the trailers were. I just knew we were going to be getting trailers while I was away from civilization. And they oh man, they did not disappoint when I got back into the connections. So Umgadi, honestly, for a minute, I was about a week. Was it a week? It was about a week after the Umgadi trailer dropped is when I finally was able to watch it. And I didn't see a whole lot of people talking about the Chameleon the cameo in the back. Not cameo, like not the fighter cameo, but like kind of a on-screen cameo, like you would say for an actor. And for a hot minute, because a lot of people were really focused on Tanya and how they're perceiving her to be ugly, and like she doesn't look like the Tanya from previous games, but most of the characters don't look like they did in previous games. It's one of the things that they do after once they go into a new game, they change the look of the characters, kind of a thing that Mortal Kombat does. So like that didn't really, I mean, Liu Kang might be the exception to that rule, but then we're going to go off on a tangent, and that's not what we're here for. So yeah, but eventually, obviously, people started really talking about the Chameleon thing, and then we got the announcement of the DLC. Also happened the same day, but that was the other big focus was, oh my god, Generally Nerdy was wrong, because we did get, in fact, Homelander, Peacemaker, and Omni-Man, all three in one DLC pack, and that is bonkers. Also, Takeda was another one that I was highly skeptical of seeing in the DLC, and there he is. It is actually Takeda Takahashi too. It's as far as we know, it's not Hanzo in any form. We still don't know where the hell Hanzo is, so yeah. And then, what was the next one? The next one was the Keepers of Time. I think that one actually dropped. It might have been the same day I got back. I don't remember, but it was pretty close to the day I got back, so I was pretty up on the release of that one with Darius as the cameo announcement there. The announcement with the DLC stuff, also all of the cameos announced there. Farah, no Farah Tour, just Farah, that's pretty nuts. We also got Movado, who we haven't seen for a hot second. I think he's only been in 2 games previous to this, so it'll be very interesting to see how he affects, or how he plays as a cameo. And then we got the Banished trailer, and we see they're still not giving us any of the people that were revealed in the San Diego Comic-Con footage, which was another thing that happened while I was gone. So like we've seen through these leaks from San Diego that we got Reiko and Motaro as well, but they have yet to officially be announced, so one of the two of them is going to be a cameo. My money says Motaro, everyone else is basically saying the same thing, but wouldn't it be funny if neither of them was a cameo and they were both playable characters? Probably not gonna happen, but there you go. But yeah, so the Banished trailer is definitely a thing that I was here for. I am a big fan of what they've done with Reptile. I've never been a big Reptile player, but I mean, watching that footage, I'm gonna give him a shot because he looks to be a little more fluid, and I think I had trouble stringing him together in previous games, but it looks like that won't be as big of an issue this time around. But we shall see. Ashra was also in the Banished, as well as Havoc, and Serena was the new cameo for this one. The Serena cameo looks pretty crazy. I'm digging that one for sure. And the Ashra situation, she looks like a much more well-rounded character. Sounds like a lot of people were having fun playing her at the EVO event because there was a playable build of the game with Ashra and... No, it was Li Mei. No, I'm misremembering that. It was Li Mei. It was not Ashra. Either way, it looks like she's going to be kind of a combo maniac, so that's pretty awesome. Havoc, I don't know what to make of Havoc just yet. But yeah, that kind of leads me to this other thing that I just did a piece on over at kamidogu.com, talking about how the cameo characters are going to factor into the story mode, because we were kind of led to believe that the cameos were not necessarily part of the story, the lore necessarily. But it seems that at least some of them are going to be, and if some of them are, why wouldn't all of them be tied into it somehow? So very interesting. If you really want to get into the details of my theory, then again, go check out kamidogu.com. That is what we've got for Mortal Kombat. I could talk all day about Mortal Kombat, so we're just going to move on, shall we? That's what we also have for follow-ups and corrections. There's nothing else there. We do have some new trailers to talk about, so let's talk about that. Red Dead Redemption just dropped, the port, if you will, of Red Dead Redemption. And there's a whole lot of really stupid around this. So let's start at the top and then take it away. Rockstar Games has announced that they are going to be remastering, quote unquote, Red Dead Redemption, which was Xbox 360 PS3 title, if I'm remembering this correctly. So that's the interesting part, is because it was on the Xbox 360, it's backward compatible on the Xbox Series. So you can play your 360 version with a minor visual upgrade, and it's basically the same thing of what they're doing with the other two versions, because they're releasing it specifically on the Switch, which will be nice to have a portable version of Red Dead Redemption, as well as the PlayStation 4. That's right, PlayStation 4 and Switch are getting the Red Dead Redemption upgrade, which means you'll still be able to play your Red Dead Redemption on your PlayStation 5, because backward compatibility exists there as well. But if you look at the trailer, while there is some visual difference, there is definitely, they did some work to it. It doesn't look like they did much work to it. So go check out that trailer and kind of see, because the reason this is a big issue, if they released it for like $20, that wouldn't be it wouldn't be so much drama around it. But the reason this is a big issue is because they're dropping it for $50. Granted, that is $10 less than the average current gen game, and $20 less than the new AAA title price tag for current gen. But still, gets a decent chunk of change for a game that doesn't really look like it belongs in the current generation, and so why would you, whatever. Yeah, so that's what we got for Red Dead Redemption right now. Let's move over. The next trailer we got that is worth talking about that's not Mortal Kombat is Tekken 8. We actually got a number of trailers there, as well as Street Fighter 6. We were talking about Street Fighter 6 in just a second. So Tekken 8, a lot of EVO stuff going on there, a lot of really awesome. Go check out all of the trailers. The one that I specifically watched for today's episode is linked in the description, but I think there was like 2 or 3 total dropped. So go check that out. This is the Azucena, I think is how you say her name, Azucena gameplay reveal trailer. It looks so smooth, so buttery smooth. I haven't honestly played Tekken for a hot second, so very interested in probably getting back into that. From there, let's go into the regular ass news, shall we? Like I said, Street Fighter 6 had a lot of stuff happen over at EVO, because EVO kind of revolves around Street Fighter in a lot of ways. So the biggest one is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collaboration. There is also the AKI DLC. That there's no date for AKI just yet. Like Aki maybe is how that is supposed to be pronounced. Not big on the Street Fighters necessarily, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collaboration isn't what it might appear to be. If you have not yet played Street Fighter, then it might look like the Donnie, Raph, Mikey, and Leo are all playable characters in Street Fighter 6, kind of like they were in Injustice 2. And that's not the case. What they are is they're basically just skins for your avatar in the story mode of the game. There's actually 3 different modes that you can play with those skins, but it's just a skin. I think other abilities might be associated with each individual skin, but it's not a full-fledged character. It's just animations for the Ninja Turtles. It looks cool, but it's not as cool in delivery as maybe we wanted it to be. So there is that. And then the other big thing to come out of EVO this last week is Killer Instinct. 10-year anniversary for Killer Instinct. We got Iron Galaxy coming back to the fray to do this upgrade for the 10-year anniversary. It is going to be free DLC. Basically, they're balancing the game a little bit more. No new characters, but new balance patches, upgrade compatibility for the current gen series consoles, and just all over kind of overhauling gameplay stuff to make it a little bit more fluid for modern sensibilities, if you will, because the game is, like I said, 10 years old. How awesome is that? Hopefully, if this does well, if the community picks back up a little bit more, because the Killer Instinct community is huge, but hopefully, if it gets even huger, we will see maybe an announcement of some sort of new KI game. Let's cross our fingers. That's completely speculation on my part, but it's not outside of the realm of possibilities. So, that being the regular ass news, that's all we got, except for suggestions for gaming this week. We're going back to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm still playing it. I just barely started doing the temples, so I'm just now starting to progress the story. And what are we, like 2.5 months after launch? This game, so the reason I wanted to highlight this game again for the suggestion is because this game is roughly 16 gigabytes large. This game is, the playability is gigantic. Very literally the largest Zelda game that we've ever got. One of the largest like open world RPG games we've got in some time. I mean, aside from the obvious like immenseness of Starfield when it comes out and No Man's Sky and things like that, but like those are all like a lot larger file sizes. You know, Starfield's very specific is gonna be what, like 120 something gigs? 16 gigs Zelda is. 16 gigs. That's awesome. That is incredible. This game is so much fun. This is very easily going to be one of the best games ever made. So go check it out. If you haven't yet, if you kind of dropped it because you got bored with it or what have you, there's so much to do in this game. Go check it out. It's definitely worth your time, at least for another couple hours over the course of the next week. Once again, this is just the gaming and tech section. It is a shortened piece of the much longer news show that I do over on youtube.com/generallynerdy, which is the main channel. There's a lot more music and comic books and movies and TV shows, etc., that can be found over there on the regular show. Thank you for joining me here, though, nerds. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.